Budget, Finance, Economic Development Committee. It is now 9:07 a.m. and I have only one item on the agenda, and let's hope that we're able to do this quickly. So before we consider anything and start our business, I wanted to have a moment of silence to honor the vice chair of this committee, Member Kama, and thank you very much for your consideration. As all of you know, she left us on Sunday, and for me it was quickly because I don't think we ever anticipated her to leave us and her family this soon. So I wish to acknowledge her passing. We have beautiful flowers, and my office put a pink carnation lei on her desk to know we're thinking of her. We also have a bottle of her favorite lihimoi that is there for maybe one of her family members to enjoy, but she and I would often enjoy that as we listen to everyone's meetings. She was a wonderful soul with a great heart, lived in humility and strength. So at this time, I'd like to ask all of you to join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. We'll continue on with the meeting. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Sunshine Law. As a reminder, when your name is called, if you're not here in the chamber, please do identify by name who, if anyone, is in the room, vehicle, or workspace with you today. Minors do not need to be identified. Chair Lee, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for that introduction. The morning greeting is Privyet, and that's Russian, Privyet, for good morning. Thank you.
Privyet, Chair Lee. Next, Member Cook in the chambers.
I'll try that. Privyet. Aloha, good morning. There's no testifiers in the KE office currently, and I'm looking forward to today's meeting and taking care of the Department of Water Supply.
Thank you. I want to just say thank you for always being present in the chamber. I think you try a lot, so appreciate that. Do we have Member Johnson? Member Johnson online. Good morning, Privyet.
Privyet, Chair, Council members, committee members, there's no testifiers here at the Lanai District Office, only on my side of the office. And just a friendly reminder, just because there's leftover Halloween candy doesn't mean you need to eat it for breakfast like I always do. Thank you.
Oh, you didn't see us passing around Halloween candy before the games, before the meeting started, huh? All right. Member Paulton. She's on the phone. Member Paulton, shall we come back to you? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you started the meeting. The sound wasn't on my end.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Okay. Member Paulton, good morning.
Did it start?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Aloha Kakahiaka, streaming live and direct from Napili, Surfs Up, and I have one minor canine.
Member Rollins Fernandez.
Aloha Kakahiaka Kako, my Molokai no Yahina. I'm at my private residence alone, and there currently are no testifiers at the Molokai District Office.
Member Shane Sinensi.
Hey, aloha kakayaka, Chair, and everyone. I'm here at my home office. I'm here by myself, and there are no testifiers at the Hana District Office.
Okay. Member U Hodgins. Praveet.
Praveet, Chair, Praveet, everyone. I'm at my private residence, alone in my workspace as well, but my husband, William Koa Hodgins, is home too. Thank you.
All right. So from the Office of the Mayor, I would like to say Christina Kabat, Assistant Budget Director, will be online. Tiari Lauren Horner, Budget Specialist 5, is also going to be online. Department of Water, we have Deputy Director Kimo Landgraf. And from Corporation Counsel, Christina Toshikio and Christy Wigglesworth. Other resources, we have Stantec, which is Kim Pugel, Water Funding Management Consultant, and you're here in person. Right. Oh, I see you're going to be here virtually. You're from Stantec. So members, with your permission, I'd like to ask if you would allow Ms. Pugel of Stantec to be a resource person under Rule 18A of the Rules of the Council based on her expertise in water funding management. Yeah, I think she's the star of the meeting. Committee staff, Leigh Deneen, Council Services Assistant Clerk, Peter Hanano, Legislative Attorney, Kirsten Zabo, Legislative Analyst, James Kruger, Senior Legislative Analyst, Pauline Martin, Senior Committee Secretary. And you can see the last page of the agenda for information on meeting connectivity. Thank you, members, for attending today's BFED meeting. And we only have one item on the agenda, which is BFED 10, Bill 150 and 151, 2025, amending the fiscal year 25 budget, capital improvement projects, Department of Water Supply, countywide wildfire disaster relief projects. And we have testifiers, I see, right? So before I do testimony, I wanted to, with your permission, go over the presentation from the departments to talk about the items on the agenda, the item on the agenda today. So Deputy Director Landgraf, would you like to lead us in this portion?
Mahalo, Chair. So today we're trying to amend our budget because we have some funds that are available from the State of Hawaii Drinking Water State Revolving Funds for loan for the wildfire disaster relief projects. So it's basically so we can accept the money from the state into our budget, so we can do our projects in the west side.
Okay.
And I also have Kim Pugel, who is really good at our water funding. She's helped us a lot, and that's why we're so far along as we are.
Okay, from Stantec, right?
Yes,
So would you
Stantec.
like to do your presentation? No?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Members, you all got copies, hard copies, or got copies of this? And it's on Granicus. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, it's
Hi,
not yet on
everyone.
Granicus.
Yeah, great. Okay.
It is? Okay, I'll refresh. Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay. Just once everyone gets slides. Great. Okay, yeah, so it's a short presentation. We didn't know exactly what types of questions you'd have, so there's a little bit of background information, summary about the use of funds and how this aligns with some of the broader funding efforts, but happy to answer any questions about specific projects. And if we can't answer them today, certainly follow up and get more information for you all. So I've been warned of the delay. There we go. Okay, so these bills will authorize the county to secure around $64.5 million from the Environmental Protection Agency. The funds would be used for drinking water system improvements that support the wildfire recovery. And they play an important role in helping to fill the bucket for the entire infrastructure recovery need. That's alongside but not duplicating other really important funds like the FEMA Public Assistance, Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, the HUD CDBG-DR, and other federal funds. So these are complementary to and in support of, but not duplicating those other funds. Specifically, the funds are Environmental Protection Agency funds that were authorized and passed by Congress in December 2024 through the Disaster Supplemental Appropriation. It's also called the American Recovery Act. And since last December, when the funds were authorized, the Department of Water Supply, the Office of Recovery, has been working really closely with the State Department of Health to secure these funds. It's been a long process. There's been lots of back and forth, figuring out different eligibility of different projects, not wanting to duplicate other funds. So lots of back and forth. And just this past August, the State Department of Health did receive their allotment for the Maui Department of Water Supply from the EPA. So they have the funds. The mechanism for the county to secure these funds is through a state revolving fund loan through the drinking water SRF. And there's some specific requirements that the state has put on the funds, but it's all pretty routine or standard. It's through similar mechanisms that they're using. They haven't used yet here in Maui, but they have used with the Board of Water Supply in Honolulu and the Hawaii Department of Water Supply on the Big Island. So the mechanisms are pretty straightforward, but yes, it's through a programmatic financing agreement with the state Department of Health, Drinking Water State Revolving Fund loan. And these bills and the borrowing resolution that they would authorize allows the county to enter into that agreement and receive the funds. Okay, a little bit on the funding terms. So this is coming as a subsidized loan. The exact interest rate would still be determined at the time of the loan, but it is heavily subsidized. It would, and it's proposed to be up to 90% principal forgiveness, and for the full $64,469,830 of funding that would be offered. If the full 90% principal forgiveness is received, and that's about a $58 million principal forgiveness loan, which is essentially a grant, and then the remaining $6.5 million would be offered at a subsidized interest rate over a 20 to 30 year repayment term. I did take some screenshots from the draft intended use plan, which is how the state revolving fund outlines how certain funds will be used. This is from August and was a draft, but the final did just get posted last week, so I can also provide an updated version of this, but nothing has changed from my screenshots. This is where it outlines how the American Recovery Act, ARA, funds in general, as the EPA is rolling it out, there's a base of 30% principal forgiveness, but what the state is offering Maui County is a 60% base principal forgiveness with an additional 10% for each of these 3 checkboxes that the county can meet. And 2 of those 3 checkboxes has already been met. So this bill and this borrowing resolution would be the 3rd. So allow for that bumping up from 80% principal forgiveness up to 90%. Let me see. Yeah, the other 2 is just submitting of relevant environmental documents for some of the projects, and then a final project list, which I can pull up. I have on my next slide. Okay. And then this is my last slide. So just noting some of the projects that have been that this fund would be, or these funds would be used for. So these are projects that increase water source and infrastructure reliability in the Lahaina portion of the West Maui water system. So that includes the Waipuka Kanaha Motor Control Center upgrades, both the electrical upgrades and the emergency generators. It includes the Lahaina Waterline Improvement Project, which increases the diameter of some of the water lines to accommodate fire flow. It would fund the first portion of the Laniopoko Aquifer Wells project, which is the exploratory and eventually development phase, both in at the L1 and L3 site. The Mahinahina backup well development and the Honolulu Aquifer development, both at the H1 and H2 sites. Those, these are all, so those are projects. It seems like there's maybe there might be some questions around those projects, so we're happy to answer some more specifics about those. But in general, these are priority projects. They're all projects aligned with the long-term recovery plan. They're also being implemented in coordination between the Department of Water Supply and the Office of Recovery, which is in line with the Mayor's Recovery Coordination Directive #1. The timing of these funds, so since this is one of the last steps to be able to enter into a loan agreement after this borrowing resolution is passed, if it's passed by the council, the loan execution process can start, which might take a couple months, but would be able to execute the loan in 2026. And then all the projects that are here on the list are anticipated to encumber those funds by the end of calendar year 2026. And the timing of that is actually really important. I mean, I could talk about this all day, but it's essentially allowing some of these really critical projects to move forward while the HUD, CDBG, DR infrastructure and mitigation programs are being stood up, and essentially allows, some of these projects are out to bid or just went out to bid. And so it's essentially filling that gap until the CDBG DR funds can hit and come in. It's really critical in timing. And yes, the broader impact, I mean, at the end of the day, all of these projects are projects that increase the reliability of the water system in Lahaina, and the drinking water system specifically, and then reduces further disaster risk and economic disruption from disasters. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Deputy Director, anything else you would like to add?
No, nothing at this time, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So then, at this time, then, I would open up for public testimony. Do we have testimony? We do, yeah. Okay. So public testifiers will be providing 3 minutes to provide testimony, and if you don't complete, you will be given another 30 seconds. And you can join online via Teams link or call in the phone number noted in today's agenda. Written testimony is encouraged and can be submitted via the e-comment link at mauicounty.us/agendas as well. Under the Sunshine Law, the chair will receive oral testimony for agenda item at the beginning of the meeting and as the item is called up. For individuals wishing to testify via Teams, please raise your hand by clicking on the raise your hand button. If calling in, please follow the prompt via phone, *5 to raise and lower your hand, *6 to mute and unmute. Staff will add names to the testifiers list in the order testifiers sign up or raise their hands. For those on Teams, staff will lower your hand when your name is called. Staff will then call the name you're logged in under the last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your time to testify. So at this time, staff will enable your microphone and videos. Please ensure your name appears in Microsoft Teams as a name you prefer to be referred to as anonymous, or if you wish to testify anonymously, if you're in person, please notify staff that you would like to testify anonymously. Otherwise, please state your name for the record at the beginning of your testimony and any organization you represent. Oral testimony is limited to 3 minutes. And if you're not done, I'll give you another 30 seconds to complete. And once you're done testifying, if you do not wish to testify, or you can view the meeting online at Akaku Channel 53, Facebook Live, mauicounty.us/agendas. We will do our best to take each person up in an orderly fashion. And so now, will you please call up the first testifier?
Chair, the first person signed up to testify is the Royal House of Hawaii, and then they'll be followed by the individual who approached the podium.
Thank you. Royal House.
Aloha. Aloha. This is the Royal House of Hawaii. I'm a descendant. I'm a loyal land tenant under Kekahuna, Ana Heva Heva Nui, and how are all these are funds for the developments and stuff. So how are the developments approved? That's what I want to know, because as all of the resource people, as you guys should know, Hawaii is all royal patented, allodial titled, Palapala Nui girl, okay? And it's listed under the legal info under the tax map P paperwork. So it's all historical properties. All of Hawaii is all historical properties. So I'm a descendant. I have never got contacted. Never knew this was all gonna be happening. And what are your guys' qualifications? are you guys even qualified for this? Because us descendants of the royal patents have not been contacted. Where is your guys' accolades also? Alexi, out of qualifications, because us Olorio land tenants never got contacted, period, point blank. And that's illegal. And how are these being approved? What shouldn't these funds be going to the descendants of those lands, because the descendants of those lands are being frauded because they never even know all of this is happening on top of their land. So it's fraud. So shouldn't all the money be going to the descendants? Girl. But yeah, the money should be going to the descendants too. And they never even been contacted, and put the legal info back in the royal patent legal info and the land commission award info, because the royal patents last forever. This is the Kingdom of Hawaii. The original metes and bounds of this country can never be changed. Once a country makes the metes and bounds of a country, it can never be changed. It's nationally recognized, okay, by law. So and building all these what is that called, wells and stuff like that. There's already wells, naturally made wells. We just gotta regenerate the fucking land. Hello, it's common sense kind. You guys get the signs of the ahupuas everywhere. And part of descendants, what you guys are supposed to be doing by law, because we never get contacted or let know and notified. And put the legal info back in the paperwork. Hello, we get the original paperwork. It says them right here, but on online, no show 'em. Change them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the testifier? See none. Thank you very much.
Correct me if I'm wrong too, please, mahalo. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, the last person we have signed up to testify was the individual who approached the podium.
Thank you, James. J.C. Law from Kula Waiko, Ahupua'a, Ohio. Luna Ho'omolu, Yuki Lei, Kashiwa Sugimura. And thank you for the previous testifier. And Lilio Kalani sends her love. And thank you, all the county workers. And thank you, Lay, for the pencil. Na papahana ho o kana ho po pili kia ahi hiu hiu apuni ke kalana. This week I've been up there 12 years. And yeah, that fire up there, that was kind of scary. So I noticed the agenda doesn't say upcountry projects on there, but that's one thing that Chair Sugimura and I agree on is some improvements on the upcountry water. So don't forget us. I'll save the rest of my time for the Hawaiians.
Thank you. Any questions for the testifier? See none. Thank you very much.
Chair, there's currently no one else signed up to testify on this item, so we'll do a last call. If there is anyone else who'd like to testify on item BFED 10, please identify yourself now. On Teams, you can do that by using the raise hand function. We'll do a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Chair, no one else has identified themselves as wishing to testify.
Thank you. With your permission, I'd like to close public testimony. Thank you very much. So as you know, we have only one item on the agenda, which is Bill 150 and 151 relating to the countywide wildfire disaster relief projects for the Department of Water Supply. Bill 150 amends fiscal year 26 budget to increase estimated revenues, other governmental by $64,467,830, appropriate the same amount in the new CI capital improvement project entitled Countywide Wildfire Disaster Relief Projects, and include the projects in Appendix C. Bill 151 authorizes the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the state drinking water revolving fund to finance the project. These funds will be used for design and construction for projects including Waipuka and Kanaha Wells motor controlled center and electrical upgrades with emergency generator. Lahaina Water Line Improvement Project, Laniapoko L1 and L3, exploratory and development phase. Mahina Mahina Backup Well Development, and Honolua H1 and H2, exploratory and developmental phase. The administration requests final action on these bills by December 31st, 2025, to be eligible for 90% principal forgiveness on the loan. I already introduced who's joining us, and we received the opening comments. So members, at this time, I'd like to open up for your questions. Chair Lee, you first. I'll just go down here and
Thank
then
you.
go online.
Mr. Landgraf, just checking, when did we apply for this money?
I think it was like the end of 2024, beginning of 2025.
And so you didn't know that we were going to receive it?
Yeah, we didn't know we were going to receive
Yeah,
it.
because it's not in the regular budget, so I just wondering.
Right, so we never knew if we were gonna get it because it was part of that disaster relief that the federal put out for the three, Maui and North Carolina and Florida, I think. So we were all part of that, but we never knew if we were gonna get any of it or not. So we never found out, I think it was, I like to say the ending of, I like to say December 2024, when we found out we might get it, but we still had to work through the process and figure out how the state was gonna implement it.
Okay, so in other words, we knew we had these projects to do, but we weren't sure where the source of the funding was coming from?
We asked for several of them, correct?
Yeah, because if you didn't get this funding, you would have used the CDBG DR funds?
Possibly, yes. Or some, we were still looking for other funding from other sources, but if we had to, we would use CB, yes.
Okay, because I just wondered if by doing it this way, you freed up additional CDBG funds for other projects.
We will, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next member, Paulton, 3 minutes.
You're on mute, Member Paulton.
Thank you. On the funding term slide, it said 0% interest, but I thought I heard audibly that we aren't sure what the interest is yet. So just checking which one is it, the audio or the visual?
Yeah, thanks. That's my mistake when I made the slides. It's potentially 0%, but it would be set. In general, the Hawaii State Revolving Fund sets their interest at like 1 or 2%. It's dependent on the current rate, so it's not 0%. I made a mistake in the slides. Thanks.
Next question, the Mahina Hina backup well, is that like another well we're gonna drill that we can't use, like the Kahana wells that are drilled that we can't use?
Well, I sure hope we can use them, but Mahina Hina is the backup well in the same area as Kahana well.
So it's in the Honokawai Aquifer?
No, I believe it's in Honolua.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's really close,
Honolua
it's really
Aquifer.
close to the Kahana well. In fact, it's drilled already. This has to be outfitted with the pump.
Oh, okay. And then the Laniapoko Aquifer exploratory thing, where if we determine that there's water significant enough to drill a well to use the water, where would that water go to meet needs?
Into the salt system, which is basically,
So like Lahaina Town.
yes, Lahaina Town, all the way towards Civic. It
So
pretty
you-
much can go right and end at Civic.
Where would you need to lay the transmission from Laniapoko to Kahoma for water treatment
It would be
facility or?
closer to the Lahaina Luna area up there. We would connect in at that portion.
And it wouldn't need water treatment facility if you're drilling a well, that's only for surface water?
Correct. Correct.
And Waipuka is in West Maui as well?
Yeah, so Waipuka, there's 2 wells. It's right below the Lahaina Luna High School. On the road as you approach Lahaina Luna High School on the right side. There's a tank, and right below there's 2 wells, Waipuka.
As you approach Lahaina Luna going up
Yes.
The tank is on the left side?
On the right
Or
side.
the right?
The right side, just before you get to Lahaina Luna High School. Before you get to the field,
okay.
on the right.
And the money would be used for electrical systems for that?
Yes, the upgrades and a generator, which we already got bids back for.
Because the generator that we have is ending its useful life?
We don't have one
Or
right
we
there right
don't have a
now.
generator?
Correct. No, we don't have a generator there right now, a permanent generator.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have Member Johnson, followed by Member Rollins Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of the person from Stantec. What was her name? I'm sorry.
Ms. Pugel,
Yeah, Kim Pugel.
Pugel,
Hugo?
Pugel.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I didn't get that. So I assume this question's for you, but you know, anyone can answer. This money came from the EPA, but right now we're facing a government shutdown on the federal level. Is there record keeping or anything needed that, or is that money totally into the state coffers and we don't need to go back? And I'm just curious of if there's any kind of delays or anything related to this money related to the shutdown.
Is it already gone? You can't see the green light from this side. Yes, it's already, so the State Department of Health did receive it in August, which was great timing. It took a lot of work between the Department of Water Supply, providing a lot of documents for them to apply to the EPA, but they did receive the funds. It's in their bank, is what they've told us, as of
Great.
this past August. Yep. And when.
So there's no oh, go ahead.
I was just going to add, there is later next year, there may be potential for what's called reallotment funds for the Department of Water Supply to request additional funds in case North Carolina or Florida can't use their full allotment. And so that would require more work from the EPA side.
And we won't have a number on that until they don't spend it, or do we have an estimate?
We don't have an estimate. We've been communicating the full need, indicating that there's more eligible projects that would work within the timing of this funding if more funds became available. But yeah, it would be later 2026.
What is the full need? Do we have a number?
The estimate that we went back and forth as the state was and the EPA were outlining what would be eligible, because the full need is it's dependent on what they've defined as eligible. And then we would revisit what, any potential project that could fit under that eligibility. But the number that was provided and that we know the state submitted to the EPA in December 2024 was around $250 million for both the water system and the wastewater system.
And we got 60X million of that 250 million.
Yes, drinking water was the full allotment for the Maui wildfire was 68 million. The state is allowed a certain percentage for their own, for administering the program. So the amount that was offered to the county was the 64.5. And then there was also from the wastewater side separately, there was $22 million that was used for Department of Environmental Management Wastewater Reclamation Division.
Thank you so much for that clarification. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Next, we have Member Rollins Fernandez, followed by Member Cook.
Aloha, Deputy Director. Aloha, Ms. Pikel. Mahalo for being with us today and answering our questions. Okay, so I am looking at the Drinking Water Treatment Revolving Fund final posted FY 2026 and federal fiscal year 2025 appropriation. And I'd love for that to be posted to Granicus. I can send the link to committee staff to get that posted. So I was looking at Appendix A and I see that there's I'm just trying to understand better. And of course I support receiving $64 million. I'm not, yeah. So no question about that. Just trying to understand the process. So 68 million was granted from the EPA through this emergency fund, where Florida and North Carolina that also suffered disasters received funding from the EPA. The 68 million was received by Department of Health, and it was combined with the other revolving fund money, because I see projects for Honolulu, different projects on Oahu. And then I also see the area where it talks about the different interest rates, and then there's like a fee rate. So there's like a 1.15 interest rate and a 1.5 fee rate for municipal project-based loans. Or I guess for the 30 or 40 years, so that was 20 years, 30 or 40 years is 1.4 for interest rate and 1.5 for the fee rate, for a total annual loan rate of 2.9% interest and fee together. And that would be on the $6.4 million that we would be accountable for as the 10% matching. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, thanks for the question. So the full intended use plan that you're looking at, that outlines this appropriation. It's administered through the annual program, which so the annual Drinking Water State Revolving Fund receives some much smaller amounts from the EPA every year, and that is allowed to fund water infrastructure projects across the whole state. So that's the full list that you're seeing. What they did in an attempt to make it a little bit easier administratively was that they just folded this in. They use an acronym SA-HMW. So if you control F in that document for that, it'll give you just the list of projects, and that's the full $250 million list that we told them is potentially eligible if they ask for more money. So that's the list of just these projects. There will be other lists for other counties, and then also the Department of Water Supply will also have some projects through the annual program as well that are not disaster relief specific. Yeah, and then your second question on the interest rate, we don't know. So it would probably be the like 2 to 3%. We just haven't received guidance yet from them. They do have the ability to potentially offer lower or more subsidized interest rates just for the 10% remaining. But we won't know until we're able to actually start the loan execution process.
Okay, and I did see the SA code in Exhibit A. Mahalo for answering my questions, Mahalo Chair.
Thank you. Member Cook, followed by Member Hodges, then Member Senensi.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here, for all your work. So did I understand it correctly that checking box number 2 qualifies for another 10%? So today is like a $6.4 million meeting? That's a good day's work, people. We're doing good. So my questions, this is really exciting, and congratulations on everything that we're working forward and making happen. These projects, getting this meeting and this qualification done by December, and then encumbering the funds by next year, December 2026. What does it take to get the funds encumbered for this list of projects? I'm curious because, I mean, we have wells, tanks, pumps. It's a whole menu of projects, which are great, but they all have a different timeline. Or is it when they're designed, any clarification on what encumbered means for this menu of projects?
Yeah, thanks, Councilmember Cook. It's a good question. So, there's, I think, 2 bits of information. So one is that part of the way that the state is structuring this loan, giving the full list, gives the Department of Water Supply a lot of flexibility. They're calling it a programmatic financing agreement, which essentially means that whenever a project is ready to go out to bid and encumber funds, they don't have, the Department of Water Supply does not have to go to the state for approvals necessarily to approve that amount. So that's why it's a huge, yeah, that flexibility is hugely beneficial.
That is huge.
Yeah. So there's no, yes, from the state side, there's no, there's no waiting on that side. And then for the Department of Water Supply, as they develop the projects, which is, I think, your actual question of what does it mean to encumber the funds. So these are projects that have been in development for years. Many of them are at full design and have already gone out to bid. Some of those bids just closed last week. And so essentially what the engineers at Department of Water Supply are waiting on is, you know, they don't have this much money in their accounts, but they've been working on these projects for a long time. So when they go to execute their contracts with the contractors, they would, once these funds are received, they would be able to just use it as a fund code and encumber the funds.
It sounds like all the planets are in alignment for the Department of Water Supply finally. It's really great to be able to have the projects in the queue and being able to execute them. My last question is, if the 90% of the funds is not forgiven, how will the county pay for it? I guess, under what conditions would it not be forgiven?
We just need council to agree, and that's it. If council agrees, then we'll get the 90% principal
Okay.
forgiven.
And that's what, our $6 million today?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a deal. Thank you very much for your hard work. I'm really excited for the department, and thank you for your expertise making this happen. Mahalo.
Thank you. I just wanted to add, the additional 10% is the bills currently being considered by council, but the entire, like, if you think the 90% principal forgiveness is uncommon. Normally, the Department of Water Supply in the past has qualified for around like 40 or 50%, depending on the service area. So the actual amount, if you yes, this is one box that gets an additional 10%, but really this is the next and one of the final steps to receive the full 90%, which is more math than I can do right now, but 90% of 64 is a lot. So yeah, it's a huge, it's going to be super important for these projects.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Very exciting. All right, Member Hodgins, followed by Member Senenzi.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha, Deputy Director, and thank you, Ms. Pugo. I hope I said your name correctly. I really have no questions for right now. My questions were mainly about the interest, which have already been asked and answered. So thank you so much. I appreciate your hard work. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Member Senenzi?
Hey, Chair, my question for Deputy Landgraf was looking at the list of projects, and I wasn't sure if I missed it or not. Was there like a priority list for you guys to pick from? And I guess I just want to preface my question with, were you looking at applications where there would be a need maybe for potential public housing projects? I don't know if there was any, it has Laniopoko, but I wasn't sure if Laniopoko was a private system
Okay, so.
in Laniopoko.
Thank you for the question, Councilmember. So Lanipoco L1, L3, and Honolua H1 and H2, and the Mahinahina backup well are all water source projects under the department, that the department controls. It's not anything private.
Nothing is private.
No, it's nothing, it's not for Lanipoco. It's this, the well is in the Lanipoco aquifer system.
Okay, got it. And then we do have some potential housing projects. I don't know, we spoke about Pulelehua not having water. Would those qualify or be near any water source projects to provide source for not just that project, for some other public housing projects?
So both H1 and H2 and the Mahinahina backup are all part all close to that area.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. And then again, this is just for our system, nothing to do with any private or any of the resort, hotel projects, anything like that.
No, this is all part of the County of Maui Department of Water Supply System.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Chair. Happy to support.
Thank you. Good questions. So I have questions. So of the projects that you have listed, I guess this is a question for Stantec, but what is the progress, or maybe we need to send you a letter, like where are we in terms of making sure that the projects get done? And is there a current status for each project that you can tell us now or later? And then will you therefore encumber the funds? That's what I'm trying to get to, right, by the deadline for 2026.
Yeah, I'm also happy to provide a written in response to a letter, but in general, so Waipuka Kanaha Wells, Motor Control Center, electrical upgrades and emergency generators, those bids closed a couple weeks ago, and so there is pricing for that. Those would be able to be encumbered as soon as this loan is executed, or potentially before. So those are ready to construct. The Lahaina Waterline Improvements Project, the increasing the sizing for fire flow requirements, that the bids closed, it was put out to bid this past spring, bids closed in July, and that contract is executed with the construction company. There were some internal county funds that went to the first portion, about half of the water lines. And then the remaining portion that there was not funding for, those are ready to be encumbered as soon as the funds are available. Laniopoko L1 and L3 exploratory phase, those bids closed, I think, just last week. So there's pricing for those, and again, would be ready to construct as soon as the funds are available. Mahina Hina, so the last two on the list are the ones that have not yet been put out to bid, but are in design and would be put out to bid in 2026. So those would be able to be encumbered by the end of 2026. The project timing and the readiness of all these was one of the largest factors in selecting the projects, both on eligibility, through a lot of back and forth with the EPA, Office of Recovery, and the state, but readiness was one of the most critical, essentially being able to fund projects that are ready to go right now. Yes, so most of these, but happy to provide more of a detailed status update.
Okay, so staff, can we send them a letter so that we can have it as part of the record? Because important, right? Okay, thank you on that. And where is the money coming from?
What do you mean, where the money is coming from? It's coming from the state,
Well, EPA.
EPA through the state and then to us.
Okay. And I know that when you presented all the plans for the Lahaina rebuild, this was part of it, to get state revolving loan funds. And the interest we talked about, and, okay. All right. So we'll go through one more round. Chair Lee. Okay. Member Paulton.
Can you explain a little bit more about the Lahaina Waterline Improvement Project? This is all for drinking water?
Yes, it's all for drinking water, council member. It's all in the Lahaina, through the burn area, it's in that area that all the piping is getting upsized.
From what size to what size?
It depends on what street, but it's bring everything up to the standard. So,
What's
we
the
can go from
standard?
6 to 8, 8 to 12, something, stuff like, basic sizes like that, or 4 to 6 or 4 to 8. It's just depending on the street, but we're bringing it all up to the current standards.
What is the current standards?
I can't give you this, I would have to talk to the engineer, the exact current standards, but what the current standards that all the municipalities use right now in sizing their water lines.
And the purpose of that is because people are building back bigger?
Not necessarily, it's just to bring the flow and all the flows up to standard so we can have more water flow and water volume in the pipes.
And this was a problem before the fire, and what was the result of it as a problem? Like, people would have low pressure?
Not necessarily low pressure. You could have low pressure, but you would have sometimes less volume. And because Lahaina was built out over such a long period of time, as they were doing it, I guess they didn't upgrade things along the way.
So, what would be the consequence of not upgrading it?
There will be less volume available in the piping.
And is this the fire hydrant system as well?
Yes, it's all part of the fire system, because there's only one system that is mostly for fire protection and for domestic use. It's all on one system.
But even with the upgrades, if something like August 8th was to happen again, it would still not have water because the pressure would be gone as subdivisions burn down?
Well, August 8th was, what can I say, that was very unusual, and it would be very hard to support some kind of fire for anybody's system with what happened. It just was.
So this go ahead.
It just was so much broken lines and stuff that it was very hard just to maintain what was happening at the time.
So this upgrade wouldn't change the outcome?
I cannot say.
Do you know how many linear feet of water line improvement?
It's probably around 15,000.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Member Johnson, followed by Member Rollins Fernandez. Oh, Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. My questions have been answered and I'm in full support.
Thank you. Member Rollins Fernandez. Oh, my.
Mahalo, Chair. Follow-up question regarding when you expect to execute the loan documents.
All right, the first quarter of 2026.
Okay, great. And then, regarding that fee that I referenced, it's a 43-page document, and I haven't read it through thoroughly in the past few minutes. I was hoping that you would be able to explain what that 1.5% fee is.
Yeah, not with certainty, unfortunately. In general, the state also, I think that they use that. It's what they use to be able to administer the program. So for their own staffing and, yes, being able to administer the program. But we could ask them for more of a detailed breakdown. I don't know the exact answer.
Okay, mahalo. And it may be in the document, and I haven't, been able to find that section to explain. So the state is taking 4 million from the 68 million plus potentially charging a 1.5 fee over the 30 years and an interest rate potentially.
Potentially, and that's why I had said earlier, and I'm sorry that I didn't put it in the slides, but that we don't know the interest rate. I think that is a really fair point, and that's part of the execution process is determining what the interest rate would be, and then if that fee applies, or if you're right, if that's covered by the administrative set aside that they already allocated for themselves. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then, so just to confirm what I thought I heard and understood earlier, the 64 million is just for West Maui, and the department may have applied for more outside of West Maui and disaster relief, outside of the 64 million? I didn't read the whole Exhibit A yet, sorry.
Yeah, there was there were some original lists when we didn't know what was going to be eligible uses. When we first were informed of the potential for the EPA to pass a disaster supplemental through Congress and get money to support water infrastructure needs in Maui, North Carolina, and Florida, we kind of gave them a big list of all potential things. The drinking water SRF and this line of EPA funding specifically is already has some standard eligibilities. So we just went with anything that could potentially fit and then slowly worked with them to iterate. And what the final determination we received and the guidance we received from both the EPA and the state pretty much limited the projects to West Maui, Lahaina specifically. So that's why these projects were there. Some of the larger list moved beyond that, but yeah, what we were told is that what would be eligible for this first allotment is just Lahaina and drinking water.
Yeah, so my question was in regard to the 64 million. It was regard to, you said they get like 280 million from the EPA. And so 64 million was set aside for disaster relief. And then beyond I can't do the math right now. So 220 million would be for everything else that the EPA regarding drinking water. So did Maui County receive anything outside of West Maui from the 220 million?
Yeah, I would have to look through it to know specifically. It's my understanding that they only received 68 million from the EPA for under this allocation. They took the 4 million for themselves, so the amount offered is the 64.5. I think what they got for their annual program, like the amount that they'll get it's called a capitalization grant every year from the EPA. I think it was something on the order of $20 to $30 million. And that's what applies to the whole program. I would have to double check. I'm not sure what the 220 is, but the full ask, our original ask was for the full 250 something million. Again, I can get specifics if you want. That was to demonstrate that there was a large need and essentially was used by the state and by our contacts at the EPA to try to get as close to that 250 as possible. But then all that they received in this first allotment is the 68. And then the reallotment, which would be later next year, essentially the state and our partners at the EPA would go back to headquarters and say, if there's additional left over from Florida or North Carolina, look, we've already encumbered our full 64.5 million and there's more need remaining. So we could use those funds if there's any left over. And that would start to build towards the larger 250 need that was in like that full project list. I hope that answered your question. I'm also happy to dig into it a bit more and find out what the 220 is.
Okay, mahalo for that. And then Chair, I did email committee staff the link to that revolving fund plan. So if it can be uploaded to Granicus for the public to be able to access. Mahalo.
Did you get it? Staff, did you get it? Yeah, you did get it. Okay, can you upload it to Granicus?
After the meeting. Yeah, no rush. I just, just for future reference. Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you.
Mahalo, staff.
Thank you. Member Cook, any more questions?
No more questions, Chair. Just want to thank the department and everybody for their work on this effort. This is huge. It's a lot of money, a lot of capital improvement projects, huge improvements to the Lahaina water system, and good job.
Yeah. Member Hodgins.
I have no questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Senensi.
Teacher, just a follow-up from the report. It looks like the Department of Water Supply, this grant is just specific to the Lahaina wildfire projects. However, there were other projects that the department had qualified for through this grant.
Is that a question for the department?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think what you may be referring to are several of the projects that were put forward for the normal annual program. So that's, every year the EPA allocates a certain amount of money to every single state across the country. It's based off of the drinking water needs assessment. The state of Hawaii, I believe, but I can get a real number. It's also in that intended use plan that Councilmember Rollins had sent around, but I think it's around 20-30 million. That's in the form of a grant that the state receives that they then lend out. And then as the terms of those loans come up, they start getting, or like as the terms, or as the projects are implemented and repayment starts, it all feeds back into one big bank that the state continues to lend out every year. And that is for all public water systems in the whole state. So I believe that there's 2 or 3 or maybe 4, but a handful of other projects around the county of Maui that the Department of Water Supply had applied for the annual program. So there's some granular activated carbon centralization happening up in the Napili Hanakahua well field. There's some chlorination upgrades at the Olinda water treatment plant, and there's a water tank going in Kihei at the Lipoa site for the tech park. All of those qualify for the annual program, so those are submitted. So you might see those listed as well that are separate from the wildfire relief projects.
Oh, fabulous.
Okay, great. Thank you for that explanation. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, because my question was going to be, will you be applying for Upcountry also? But I think you just answered it in the annual funds.
Yes, there are annual funds, and the annual funds don't have as good of terms as these. Those are ones that, depending on the specific fund that the state uses for a project, so like the Napili Granular Activated Carbon Project, the centralization, that qualifies for some like also higher subsidies because of the way that it was received from the EPA was from the bipartisan infrastructure law for emerging contaminants. So it was a specific fund so that project has higher levels of principal forgiveness. The others are the level of principal forgiveness is calculated on the service area. So the terms of this wildfire relief funds are much better than the annual program, although the annual program is still a subsidized loan, has repayment terms that are really favorable for water infrastructure projects. So it's a great fund. This Department of Water Supply has a good relationship with the annual program and does apply every year. So the upcountry projects, like when they're ready to, and if that's the most favorable terms that they can consider, not getting grants from anywhere else, then it would be a viable funding option for upcountry projects.
Yeah, good. We will look forward to hearing more then about future projects. Appreciate that. So Corp Counsel, do you have anything you want to add to this discussion? None? Okay. So authorization of the application, this is the authorization of the application. If the project is selected by the state revolving fund, then an IGA will be executed, and that is when the information related to the eligibility for the loan forgiveness would be included. You have anything else to add? I think this came from Christina in an earlier conversation dated October 31st.
Nothing else to add that this loan is forgivable. So it's a great situation for the county to help with the recovery of Lahaina after the fire.
Okay, so are we looking forward to a IGA in the future, intergovernmental agreement, or something further once this goes, operating in any non-substantive revision?
So move.
Thank you. Second? Second by Member Wu Hodgins. Thank you, Member Cook and Member Wu Hodgins. Is there any discussion? Okay, see none. So at this time then, I'd like to do, all in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye, and I think who's not here is Member Lee. I think everybody else is present. Okay, so that makes it 7 ayes and 1 excuse. Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you very much for your hard work. Really, really impressive. We heard about this through the process of the action plan and the plans from the administration and Office of Recovery working with the Department of Water Supply and hiring Stantec. I can see how valuable your expertise is to take us really to this point. And I think this is relatively fast in consideration, you know, of how things have been happening. So appreciate your help a lot. Thank you very much. So members, at this time, it is 10:13 and this meeting is adjourned.